What's crackalackin'? It's your boy Baroshmo, just in case you did not know. So we're back again, once again, with another video. This time we're going over the pro day results and see how this may help some of these prospects stock heading into the draft. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and comment. Indulge in that nice sensual football discourse in the comment section below. It helps the video out a ton, so it is much appreciated. Let's go ahead, let's dive into this sucker already. We're going to be using PFF. They actually make it look all nice and neat. They have a nice pro day tracker, so if you want to check out your results on your own time, PFF, they have that available for you. We're going to look at Pooka Williams. This was done March 5th, I believe, so way earlier. For all intents and purposes, I think he's kind of a slot only. I don't know how much of a running back you think he is at 175, 5'9". You can utilize him a little bit in the backfield, but I think for the most part, he's going to be utilized a lot in the receiving game. The dude just doesn't drop the ball. He's been a great receiver out of the backfield throughout his Kansas career. And I mean, you could tell, like, look at this with that 4.38 speed. That's nice. Probably still a late day 3, 6th, 7th round, just because the domestic, I think it was suspicion of domestic battery charge back in, I believe it was like either late 2018 or early 2019, resulted in a suspension. So there are character red flags. Really depends how teams feel about him after interviews, but just kind of going over his stuff. Let's talk about a guy that actually probably helped his stock, most likely. Rashawn Slater, man. Again, you're going to worry about the arm length, but not nearly as, like as you could tell, it's only in the 13th percentile, which it's pretty low. But the thing that really, the thing that really draws you to him is his athletic ability, and you could see he has that all like out the wazoo, which I like. That PFF, they threw the tackle percentile and then the guard percentile. Regardless, the guy is high at all of them when it comes to the bench, the 40, and the 3 cone. You're really just worrying about his length and his height. I say, hey, this guy's still going to be one of the best tackle prospects in this class. It's so hard for me right now with him and Darisaw. It's like really a back and forth. I think they're very close to one another. But I think you'd be a fool if you're considering to put Rashawn Slater at guard. I think you're a fool. This guy, you throw him out at tackle. He played left tackle in 2019. Because keep in mind, he opted out in 2020. And he played right tackle the 2 seasons before, and he was solid at right tackle, and then he just became elite in 2019. I said early after the 2020 draft, this guy's a dark horse. Watch out for him. Really wish he did play 2020, but it is what it is. You'd love to see it from his pro day. I think he's a top 15 prospect. Easy. Hands down. They also had Greg Newsome, which I don't have much to say about him here. He kind of tested how I anticipated. A lot faster than I thought, though. But let's be honest, a lot of guys out of these pro days have been a lot faster than we thought. But I mean, I guess I really believe you need to be a zone-heavy scheme to play Newsome. Some people think, oh well, he's got fine length. Good speed. Like, he can play in a man scheme, a press scheme. I'm not too sure about that. In Northwestern, he played off coverage a majority of the time. He didn't really face competition. Keep in mind that Ohio State game, he got hurt early, so he didn't get to face like Wilson or Olave. So I don't know. I still like him maybe bottom of the first, early second, because I do think there's some, like, the dude does have some shutdown ability. And you saw from the pro day, I think that just helps solidify a lot of this. But yeah, I'm not sold that he is very scheme versatile. I'm not sold on that just yet. And going through some of the other guys here for Northwestern, I don't really want to talk about. We can talk about Wyatt Hubbard for a bit. I still think he's either 7th round or undraftable. Look at that arm length, 31 inches. He's not particularly fast, but he does show a bit of explosive. I wouldn't say explosiveness, because really broad jump and vertical show off the explosiveness for prospect, while short shuttle and the 3 cone really just shows how agile, how they can change, like their change of movement, you know. So if anything, I would say he's more nimble than explosive. So yeah, I'm just not a buyer. Like, a lot of people really love him as a player. He's got a great motor, but I don't know. You're really betting that he's kind of the exception to all these assumptions, not really the standard. You shouldn't really bet on the exception. So I won't gamble on that. Quentin Myers, though, he had a banger of a pro day, man. Look at this. Like, we knew he was a really freak athlete. Because, like, I was talking about at the Senior Bowl, there was tape coming out of him dunking, you know. I was like, well, it's pretty wild for a 320-pounder. But, yeah, this... he just popped off. Ridiculous. This guy's really in, like, the discussion as, like, a 3rd rounder, I think. He had, the 2nd highest win rate of interior players at the Senior Bowl after not playing in 2020 because the... Whitewater canceled their season. So yeah, man, I really think at the end of the day he's gonna end up being a 3rd round prospect for me. I mean, these numbers just they're hard to deny. He might need a little cleanup in his pass protecting in terms of his technique and such, but I mean, for a 3rd rounder, you're getting a guy with a big upside. Felipe Franks, who would have thought, right? Who would have thought that Felipe Franks himself would have an absolutely bonkers pro day? Like, let's be honest, man. He's not a highly regarded prospect because he's very, very inaccurate. Very inaccurate. He might be a late day 3, like, developmental guy, but that's really, at best, that's what he is. Rakeem Boyd really disappointed me, man. Really disappointed me. Almost a 4.56. Really no explosive or agility to speak of, and that kind of reigned true this year for him. He was in and out of the lineup, whether it was injury, but for much of this season. But he really just wasn't impressive. I mean, I honestly think this kind of makes him undraftable at this point, unfortunately. Though Jonathan Marshall, yo. Talk about a rise. This guy has, this is some elite testing for a guy that played a majority of nose tackle there at Arkansas. And I really believe, like, he probably could stick to that if he wants to. Like, these are just really good, great, testing for him. Very impressive. This guy is probably going to shoot up a lot of people's charts because the dude was a phenomenal pass rusher this past season. Here, I'll pull that up right now. But yeah, he was a phenomenal. Did I say pass protector? Pass rusher. This past year for Arkansas. Here, let me pull up the exact numbers. And there it is. Because, yeah, dude, he was right around a 12% win rate. Then again, if you go look at that Alabama game, he was really nothing but a run defender. He couldn't get any pressure. But, I mean, hey, you got to be a quality run defender to play nose tech. But, yeah, he had 8 pressures against Mississippi State, 5 against Texas A&M, 4 against LSU. So these are some decent numbers, and I mean, he had 18 pressures in 2019, and that was off just 130 pass rushing snaps. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of impressive. I think he could sneak into that, maybe sneak into day 2. Probably more than likely in early day 3 though. But we'll see. We'll see. Marshall had a couple of guys that really showed out for me. Josh Ball, again, my kind of concern was how thin he was in terms of his frame, but he looked a little bulkier this time around. The arm length, massive. His testing overall was insane. But he is a former Florida State recruit that had to leave because of Dayton violence. He ended up getting suspended, going to community college, tried to go back to Florida State, and the victim and a lot of people were like, no, you ain't coming back here, bro. So he ended up going to Marshall, which was closer to back home. So the red flags, granted, this was all in 2017, so we're like 3.5 years removed from this. A lot could happen. It could be, this guy can be changed. I don't want, again, this is a lot in the past. Same could be said about Pooka Williams. But Pooka Williams don't have this size and these elite testing. He didn't have a lot of true pass sets at Marshall, but I think that honestly this guy probably warrants a like 5th or 6th round pick at this point. It really depends how he interviews. And this was a surprise to me because I really didn't know anything about Darius Hodge, right? I had to go back and look at some of his stuff the other night. Because first of all, size, not impressive whatsoever. This guy's almost only a wide 9 tech type of guy, maybe a 3-4 pass rusher. But like going through his stuff, like, because like this is, don't get it twisted. This is like some impressive testing right here. Like 4.67, that's pretty solid. The 7.18 3 cone. The bench was what I was most impressed with, especially that broad jump, and the vertical shows explosiveness. I didn't expect him to be this strong, so I went back to look at some of his stuff. Right, I needed to know. And the guy has like a 18% win rate, which, okay, you're playing at Marshall. It should be pretty high. Might even be higher than that, actually. I think he's borderline 20% over the last 2 seasons. Whoa. 10 sacks, solid. So I was like, okay, let's go look at specifically, because he didn't play anybody this year. Anyone to note. You could maybe make a case for Middle Tennessee if he went off against Robert Jones, but that's about it. So I went to the year prior because I was like, he had 7 sacks in 2019. 4 of them came against Old Dominion. So it's really, he had these big games really against nobody. So a bit of a concern, but I might be willing to take a shot on this guy in the 7th round. I'm that interested with these type of testing numbers where I'm like, I'm intrigued. Again, he's a special type of fit. He's not going to fit every defense, excuse me. They did drop him back in coverage a bit more this year, but it wasn't exactly a lot of snaps. He was only back there. Out of his 460 snaps, he only dropped back in coverage 47 times. So, yeah, but I'm intrigued. Darius Hodge, you have my attention. And then let's go through. Jake Funk actually tested pretty well, but still not a lot of sample size at Maryland there. Cole Van Lanen. Really nothing changed about what I thought about him. No, I was kind of intrigued with some of the results for Loudermilk, but I think overall you're really just getting a stout run defender that's a bit undersized for the interior. Travis Etienne, guess what? He blew it out the water. The band's amazing. Who would have thought? Carmen, he did come in. For a man his size, his arms ain't that long. So that might just pump up the more, hey, he should move to guard discussion. I don't think so. Amari Rogers, here's a guy I actually really wanted to talk about. I'm still firmly in the camp of this guy needs to go to running back. Make him a running back. With his receiving upside, I think that qualifies him to be a 4th rounder, in my opinion. If that's your vision, I'd be willing to take him in the 4th, maybe even late 3rd, which, if you know me, that's pretty high praise for a running back. just because of the positional value. But he offers a lot of value in the passing game. But if you just look at him as a slot only, I don't think there's really anything that separates him from the pack. Of guys like K. Johnson, Jalen Darden, just those guys, they offer a bit much, and like his testing kind of says so, you know, like for the wide receiver position, it's not all that impressive. But I'm telling you, man, make this guy a running back. If teams that think that he's just a slot receiver, in my opinion, then if that's how you view him, he's maybe a 5th rounder. If you see him as a running back, I say early 4th, maybe late 3rd. Cordell Powell, man, he did pretty well too. He ran a lot faster than I expected him to. 4.51. So that was pretty impressive. Still probably in that 4th round area. Samuel Cosmi had a banger of a pro workout though, man. Banger. Literally anything you could test high end, he did. This probably puts him back into that top 5 discussion in terms of the tackle class. Right after guys like Rashawn Slater. It's probably right up there with Jenkins. Just very impressive, but you know, while he is apparently exceptionally strong, I don't think he dealt with power well. That might be a technique thing. In terms of like pass protection, he didn't deal with power well. But that might be just, I think that's just a technique thing, how he uses his hands. It's like, you know, you're strong, now you have to play strong and get in there, get into the strike zone of edge rushers, edge defenders, people that are coming at you, essentially. But I think this type of testing warrants, hey, he should be discussed in this top 5 area. I think it separates him. I mean, he is one of the most battle-tested pass protectors in this class. So, yeah, Cosmi, man, you did yourself good. Joseph aside, I feel like nothing changed. He just ended up being a lot more athletic than I thought he was. But, again, the 19 reps in the bench, it's just your concern is how he deals with power. You point to the Tevin Jenkins matchup where he kind of just got ragdolled a little bit. Caden Stearns, though, came out, had a banger workout, banger pro day, but again, I'm surprised he didn't weigh out. He must have weighed out. There's no way he didn't weigh in. I'm gonna have to look into that. But he is what he. If you go back and look at his tape, he feels like his development's plateaued over the last 2 seasons. He struggles when it comes to coverage. Like he's way too indecisive, hesitates way too much, and he just sucks in terms of run defense. He can't take on blocks. He's basically dead in the water. If he gets engaged in a block, he's done. He's done. So there's still some concerns. Caden Stearns might be in that 5th round area for me. Just because, again, you want to believe in some of the upside he has. I don't think there's really anything to note of. I do want to say Brendan Eagles, dude's not draftable. I've seen a couple of comments where it was like, where's Brendan Eagles in your rankings? Low. North Dakota State. We all know Trey Lance put on a show. We don't need to really talk too much about that. Dylan Radunes, he kind of cemented, I think, after I really think you can make an argument that he should be ahead of Cosmi. I don't think so. I think Cosmi, again, he's just battle testing against better competition. Even though Radunes, he had the highest win rate of any offensive lineman there at the Senior Bowl. So it was nice to see him go and actually dominate true competition. But I still think I was pretty high after the Senior Bowl. That's kind of come down a little bit. I think he'll probably be in that 2nd round area. I'll probably have him right after Cosmi. I mean, I'm still pretty high on him. Don't get me wrong. Arkansas State's Jonathan Adams. This just kind of cements exactly what I thought about him. Yeah, he had problems separating at Arkansas State, which, if that's the competition you're having trouble separating against, it's kind of worrisome. At the same time, though, you do see the explosiveness. You do, because he is pretty fast getting off the line of scrimmage. But while he's made a ton of contested catches in his career, he still is around that 10% drop rate, which is a bit concerning. But it probably still warrants a maybe a fifth round pick, maybe 6. I don't know. When I get back to my receiver rankings, when I go to re-rank these guys, we'll see. But he's probably in that middle day 3 area. Creed Humphrey came out, had a banger workout. Interesting note, didn't get the arms measured. But yeah, he's probably a second rounder. If we're being honest, you do worry about how he matches up against power, like extraordinary power to be frank. Guys like Bravion Roy, Quentin Williams, they kind of had their way with him. But in terms of like, I think a move to guard might be the best. But honestly, I have no problem putting this guy at center. I really don't. And again, with the testing, it all checks out. He's kind of been elite there for Oklahoma. Trey Brown had a decent workout. Nothing surprising from Stevenson. Ronnie Perkins, though, I like that he came in a bit heavier. But yeah, I totally anticipated him to be a bit more faster. I'm surprised he didn't do like the 3-cone or stuff, or like the short shuttle. Because he really didn't show off, like he didn't show out in terms of explosiveness. And it's like, well, that doesn't add up. He seems explosive on tape because everyone looks at 1 rep against Tevin Jenkins. But again, I said this in my overrated prospects video. Half of his pressures came against Kansas. A third of his sacks came against Kansas. You kind of worry about that, but I do like to see that he at least has some actual working strength, some functional strength, because he did play well against the run. Doesn't matter who he played against. He played well against the run. So, again, I still feel like he's probably in that 3rd round area. People are probably going to be a bit higher on him than I am, but whatever. Adrian Ely, undraftable. Really, it's just size, dude. Look, like he's not an athlete whatsoever. Ugh. There was really nothing to talk about outside of Odeniembo weighing in from Vandy. All right, let's actually talk about Georgia Tech, Jalen Camp real quick, because he had a very impressive workout. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Very, very limited sample size from Camp just because of, well, to be fair, Georgia Tech actually did become more of a, like, traditionally offensive school. I wonder if I do this, does it? Yep, it does affect that. Never mind. All right, well, okay, so let's go take a look at. I should have had his stats ready. This is my bad, guys. This is my B. This is on me. But outside of 2020, 2019, 2018, he played in a triple option offense. So he really only had like the screen, the go, the slant to his name. So he had an exceptionally small route tree. There we go. Yeah, and even then, he only had 47 targets this past year. I mean, at least he didn't have any real, like, any drop problems. That's nice to see. So, yeah, I mean, this guy, 5th-year senior, too. But what you gotta say, he's big and he's fast. Like, 4'4" at that size. 6'2", too, man. Explosive, strong. Who would have thought, man? He got recruited to be a triple option guy. Who would have thought that they would have brought in someone that was stupid strong? This is actually a record. That's wild. 30 reps. Wow. It's just really impressive. Is he more than anything other than a late day 3 guy? Probably not. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if someone tried to take him in the 3rd round, or, wow, 3rd round, 5th round. But he's probably more akin to that 6th, 7th round just based on his testing and hoping you could develop him. So, we'll see. But he was definitely the one guy that stood out at Georgia Tech. no one really else did. Pittsburgh's pro day I really want to talk about because it wasn't great. Especially like, okay, Jalen Twyman, I think just solidified why I think he's a 5th rounder. I feel like he's probably at best a 3-4 end. Probably at best. No arm length. It's barely above average, really. You want to be above that 32-inch mark. Barely. Hey, good vertical, though. The bench press was fine, but, like, there's no speed to his game. Like, this guy, he is a bit twitchy off the line of scrimmage, but he's not a great athlete. If you go back and look at his 2019, he was often a late to the party, reap all the rewards type of pass rusher. I like to refer to those guys as that. But he got up in weight, which tells me he does want to play on. Does plan on playing maybe like a 3-tech and a 3-4 scheme or a 4-3 scheme. I honestly think he might just be a 3-4 end only, though. I really do believe that. Like, he's technical. That's about it. Again, I wouldn't take this guy any earlier than the 5th. Paris Ford probably just outright killed his stock. Like, this was one of the most abysmal, like, pro days of any prospect. It was bad. He had a low vertical, low broad. Like, everything was just low. Like, you literally questioned this guy's overall athleticism or lack thereof. Like, it was really bad. It was really bad. And Paris Ford was already a guy that I thought, oh, he's more reactionary, more of a big hitter. He probably, at his best, is a slot. And you know what? I think he is. You can't play this guy at safety with those type of numbers. I really think he's a slot only. This firmly puts him somewhere maybe middle day 3. Like, it was pretty bad. Rashad Weaver had a decent day, decent pro day. Patrick Jones, strange that his arms came in a bit longer than they were at the Senior Bowl. So intriguing. There was one guy, Morsi actually. He had a better pro day than I expected. Still probably a late day 3 guy. This guy, Jason Pinnock. So these are some pretty good numbers in terms of corner. Like, pretty ridiculous, like, solid, like, size. Like, I really think this guy could be, like, a press man, like, corner. I was like, what the heck? So I had to go learn more about him, really. And, like, he's been pretty decent there for Pittsburgh over the last 3 seasons as a starter. He's had 6 interceptions, 17 pass breakups. So I was like, man, this guy might be willing to take a chance on a guy like this, maybe in that 5th or 6th round area. It was pretty impressive. Like, this is exactly the type of day you want to put your name on the map. So, yeah, Pinnock. Someone from Pittsburgh had to have a good pro day, right? Then Eric Stokes. This really tells me nothing that we already didn't know. The dude was fast. He used to be a track star. He's likely going to be like a day 2 guy. Based on an interview, though, he really interviewed well. Who was the interview he had with? I can't remember, but may have been Jordan Reed. But gosh, he's such a smart guy, like smart corner in general. Just like based on how his study habits, like that was very encouraging to hear, you know. So again, I'd be willing to take this guy in the 2nd round. Do I think he's a better corner prospect than Tyson Campbell? It's close. I still weigh towards Campbell, but like I said, it's pretty close. Campbell, he did he came in, long arms, good speed. I would have liked if he was closer to that 200. To be fair, both of them are like almost similar in size. Aziz had a banger workout. Came in, said, "Hey, I'm fat." He's up to almost to that 250 mark, which you kind of want your edge rushers at 250, 255. But I like that he put on weight and he still put out this type of workout in the broad jump, in the 40. Phenomenal. Richard LeCounte, while we're talking about safeties that probably killed their draft stock, 4.83. Woof. Really bad. He's pretty small too, so it's like you don't expect him to be a box safety, but with this type of speed, and you know what? I was starting to think, watching his stuff, I was like, he seems to have good range, but I think it's just because he's so good at processing the play and what's going down. Because you'd always use the word rangy. And I was like, I don't think he's that good of an athlete. Like, he's a decent athlete, but yeah, I think this kind of confirms it. He might be like 5th, 6th round. Who was it? Who was the Deontay Thompson, I think? The Alabama safety that came out a couple of years ago, saw his draft stock kind of plummet because he wasn't nearly as good as an athlete as people thought. So I think he went in the 5th round area. I think LeCounte probably go in a similar area. DJ Daniel had a decent enough workout. Mark Webb, he came out. He had a pretty good workout, but man, his tape just ain't good. Monty Rice, man, came out much slower than I thought. Short arms. I mean, I still want to harken back to, like, he's got good play on his tape. Again, a guy that's still probably trying to become a good processor in his own right. But this probably drops him to day 3, honestly. Ben Cleveland, banger workout. I really wish Trey Hill actually did workouts. I don't know if he did or didn't. They don't list it off here. I know in some cases that they did work out. They just don't have it listed. We could actually check that real quick. Trey Hill. Let's see. Okay, they had the measurements. Okay, this really didn't help me at all. Yeah, it just showed measurements, so maybe he did just measure out. Man, woof. Because the dude's a pretty good athlete, man. He's probably close to that day 2 talk, especially for the center position. Keep in mind, he had a down year at center. I mean, I say down year. He's literally in his 2nd full season at the position, where he kind of came into his own in 2019 during the 2nd half of the season and started playing really, really well. But then this year, it was kind of like he played well. It was just, you know, some people said it was 1st round worthy at the beginning of the year. I was like, or at the like halfway way of the year. I was like, no, it's not. So I could see him coming into maybe day 2, probably maybe early day 3. Malik Herron unfortunately couldn't work out. Going through some other guys. Really wish Gary Brightwell for Arizona actually ran a 40. I was just curious. Josh, I have not practiced that last name. I'm not going to try it until I have. But our boy Josh from Illinois here had actually a banger workout. And this is actually one of the cases where PFF don't list out the whole workout, or at least don't have it listed out yet. Because dude had literally a record-breaking vertical, 46.5. On top of that, his 40-yard dash was 4.48. And then the broad jump, dude registered like, what would that be? Like I think it was over 130 inches. So ridiculous. You see the explosiveness. Decent, actually pretty darn good speed. It's below 4.5. Yeah, I mean, and he had decent enough production after transferring to Illinois. Definitely probably maybe in that 5th to 6th round area. Some guys might be a bit higher on him. I don't know. I'm going to have to deep dive a little bit more on him, admittedly. So we'll see. But very impressive outing for him. Kendrick Green, same. But I was already pretty high on him. Trey Walker killed his stock. Probably undraftable at this point. It's a shame. I was pretty high on the guy. Pretty high on him. But he came in. exceptionally small, smaller than I thought. I thought he'd at least be like maybe 185, maybe close to 190, but he didn't. And just looked unathletic, probably undraftable, very unfortunate. David Moore, again, while his short shell and 3-cone don't look great, that's not really what he is. This dude's literally a brick fence. I would say brick wall, but he's not that tall. But that's what he's gonna be, and he showed it. Dude was you see the power, 31 reps on the bench. Honestly, I was a bit surprised he even ran a 5.7 or a 5.1, excuse me. But you see the explosiveness. I'm not too worried about hand size, but that length is extraordinary. Like, yeah, this guy probably deserved to be up a little further on my rankings, admittedly. Uphoff had a pretty decent workout. Schwartz, again, track star. We knew he was fast. Seth Williams showed that he's a pretty good athlete, but again, if you just going back to the tape, you still worry about the separation. But I will say this about Seth Williams: this is a guy very devoted to getting better, and I think we saw that this past season, even though if it hasn't resulted into immediate results. That's redundant, but I'm becoming a little softer on him. Probably 4th rounder, because I'm not a big fan of contested catch guys, especially contested catch guys that have very poor contested catch stats. Like, he was only 8 I think 31 on contested catches, so I'm coming around to him, but not too much. Sherwood, he had a banger workout. He measured out really, really long. Let's see some other guys. Walker Little had a banger of a workout. That's to be expected. High praise from Paul Alexander himself. Paulson Adebo had a really good workout, man, but it's just, again, you harken back to these guys' actual production in 2019. It wasn't really good, but it was good to see, like, there's some real speed there. Like, I don't know, man. Some of these guys that opted out, they really came, I think, ready for these pro workouts. So I think you have to take a look at their tape. These guys were practicing specifically for these workouts to look good. So I might not be sold on a lot on some of these guys just because of that. Mills actually looks pretty darn good in throwing drills. Oh my gosh, Fahoko. Semi. Why? Suddenly I can't say it. That's wild. But Fahoko, he is what we thought he was. He's big. He's fast. That was to be expected. That's exactly what we think he is. He was just kind of a one-note route runner. Not much else to say from the Stanford workout. Jared Patterson, dude's 5'6", man, exceptionally small. Some people were like, oh, look, might be Darren Sproles. Again, you're drafted on the exception. You're hoping he might be. I don't think he's really shown that. I don't think his game translates well to the NFL. Like, the dude's kind of a bruiser. He is built like a tank, but I don't know, man. I got my doubts. Milton Williams had a banger workout, man. This guy, I think deserves a little notice. Might be one of the top 10 defensive interior. Like, in a weak defensive interior class, like, some of these guys are starting to like emerge. So that's really fun to see. Robert Rochelle tested a bit how we thought he would, or at least based on the Senior Bowl, because it wasn't all that great. West Virginia really didn't have anything too surprising. Charleston, though, Michael Strachan? I don't know. I got to figure out how to say the last name. Guy that had actually the Charleston, they canceled their 2020 season. But, like, going back year before, granted, again, this isn't against, like, tough competition. But you want these prospects that test out well. They should have dominated their lower competition, and he did. He had over 1,300 yards in 2019 for 19 touchdowns. You like the size, 4.5, so, like, Yeah, man, that's actually pretty legit. Pretty legit. So again, might be one of these late round steals potentially. I gotta find more tape on this guy though. But yeah, it literally played nobody. The likes of Wheelit, if you ever heard of that school, Frostburg. So yeah. As in terms of today, Memphis, Ohio, TCU, I'm a bit interested in. I don't think there's really anyone in Memphis I'm expecting. Maybe Coxie, but I don't, or Coxie, however you say it. The wide receiver, maybe him, but yeah, we still got some work, some pro days to come along, and my rankings will be out eventually, at least probably in that early April area, probably like after April 2nd, I'll start pumping it out, maybe April 1st, because that's when kind of like the big pro days come to an end. But thanks for hanging out with me, and until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.